Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Read and Reread. I am Angelia, and I am taping this in advance. I'm out of town this week, but I wanted to leave at least one video here for while I'm gone. And today I want to introduce my 2025 project. I am going to stir up some drama. I'm going to be a drama queen, and my project is called Endless Drama. This is a project dedicated to reading plays from the 20th and 21st century. But before we dive into the details, I must model today's thrifted holiday attire. If you're new to the channel, I have a collection of holiday wear from my back from my career as an elementary school librarian, and I'm reviving it during my videos in the month of December. Today we have this handsome sweater with all kinds of things going on. There are sequins, there are metallic details, there are pom-poms, and if I get too hot, I've got a Yeti. I've got a backup Yeti. I don't think I've ever worn this sweater for more than a few minutes because the insides are not that cozy, but anyway, it's going to have its moment in the limelight. So let's get right into the discussion because I have a lot of things I want to go over. I don't want the video to be too long, but okay, already I can't take it. So I've always loved plays. Back when this began when I was 12, 13, I started taking First, I took drama classes, middle school and high school. I did not want to be an actor. I wanted to read the plays. I loved reading them out loud like you do in class. And then when I became an English major, I took lots of classes where we were reading plays as literature. And then it kind of fell by the wayside, but I've been wanting to get them back into my life and back into my reading habits for quite a while. And I think it spurred me even further to become involved in the Bard Room reading group where we've been reading Shakespeare's plays. So I decided that I would challenge myself a little more formally to bring the plays back into the monthly reading habit. So my first idea was just to simply pick out one a month. But after I read A Streetcar Named Desire for my band book club at the library, I realized and remembered that plays are usually a pretty quick read. So then I decided I would put in 2 a month. Now I understand that I am probably the only person who's going to read all the plays in this project, but seriously, two plays is kind of like one novel as far as length and time it takes to read. So it's not as enormous as it looks, but I get it. My idea here is that I will simply let you know what's going on. I made a Discord, which everyone is invited to join, and you can drop in and read any of these that you like with me. So you can read 1, you could read 10, you could read all of them. It's all good, and I hope that a lot of people will decide to participate and at least dabble in and read 1 or 2 plays. Technologically, I've been on Discord for a while, but this was the first time I set up my own server for this project. It's called Endless Drama, and I'm going to put the link below, and hopefully it works. I think I have selected it correctly so that it doesn't expire and that you'll be able to get in. So try it out and let me know if there's any problems. And it was pretty easy to set it up. So if you've ever thought about making a Discord for a project, it really wasn't that bad. And so for each month there are 2 plays, except for June, which there's one longer play that's really 2 plays in one. It's a 2-part play. This is focusing on 20th and 21st century plays. Some of them are rereads. Some of the 20th century ones are rereads for me. Some are new. All the more contemporary plays are new because I had not read any of those. And when we get to each month, I will have background information that I'll put in the Discord and talk about on the channel about the playwright, the history of that particular play, its productions, any controversies, etc., all the good background stuff. Today, I'm just going to quickly run through what they are to kind of tantalize you, give you a hint of what I have in mind, and I hope that some of this interests you. So without further ado, let me give you an overview of the plays that I have selected for the project. I had to write it down, and I'm just giving the merest snippet of information about each one. So for January, we have Pygmalion from 1912 by George Bernard Shaw. Some of his work falls on the 19th century side and some on the 20th, and I've read Major Barbara. I don't think I have read Pygmalion. It's the story, of course, of Colonel Pickering and Professor Henry Higgins trying to elevate Eliza Doolittle into their interpretation of a cultured lady. And it was adapted into the famous musical My Fair Lady. Also in January, the other play is R.U.R, which stands for Rossum's Universal Robots by Karel Capek, a Czech writer from 1921. And this was the first documented use of the word robots. He introduced the term robots to culture, to science fiction. It is a science fiction play. And both of those plays are available. I think I'm going to check out a print copy of Pygmalion, but I think they're both available online through Project Gutenberg or Internet Archive. So they are accessible, pretty widely accessible for free. February, I have a copy. February is A Raisin in the Sun by Lorraine Hansberry. February is Black History Month, and I have two Black American playwrights from two different time periods to consider. So A Raisin in the Sun, which was from, let me check my notes, 1959, about a Black family in South Chicago and their struggles and challenges. I think they come into some money and they're trying to decide how best to use it. The title, of course, comes from a Langston Hughes poem. And the pairing that month is Topdog, Underdog by Suzan-Lori Parks from 2001. And another thing I'm going to get into month by month is the awards, because a lot of these have won awards, Tony Awards, Pulitzer Prize for drama, different awards. And I don't remember what it won, but it won something. Suzan-Lori Parks is the playwright, as I said, and this is about two African-American brothers. Believe it or not, their names are Lincoln and Booth. They are living together because one has fallen onto hard times. That's all I know about that one, but I'm intrigued. So in March is Women's History Month. We have two contemporary plays. The Flick by Annie Baker from 2013. This I do know won a Pulitzer, and it takes place in a rundown movie theater, and the characters are mainly the employees that work at this movie theater. Then we also have from 2015 Indecent by Paula Vogel. This is a play about a play. Paula Vogel wrote a play about a play from 1923 called God of Vengeance by Sholem Ash it was banned basically. When it went to Broadway, the entire cast was arrested for indecency. I have to know more about that story. And then in April, we have a giant hole in my literary education. I have never read anything by August Wilson. So I'm going to read The Piano Lesson from 1987. The Piano Lesson is part of a cycle of plays set in Pittsburgh. And this particular one was inspired by a Romare Bearden painting. And then also I wanted to include somewhere in this year a verbatim play, which is a style in which the play is constructed of interviews, documents, narratives of witnesses, things like that, based around some sort of an incident. And this one is a play. When I looked up examples of verbatim plays, I saw a few different suggestions, but the one that came out the most strongly is one that I have been avoiding for years and years because I just think it just sounds so devastating, and it is the Laramie Project from 2000 that was written by Moises Kaufman, and it is about the death of Matthew Shepard. So I enter with trepidation, but I've heard that this is an amazing play. May is for Arthur Miller. It's May of the Miller. And so I couldn't decide. I really, really wanted to reread both The Crucible and Death of a Salesman. So they're both in May. Come one, come all, let us reread these classic plays. I forgot my visual aids for May, my ancient high school copies of Arthur Miller. And for June, I also do have the play already, Inheritance by Matthew Lopez. Michael Clark sent this to me a few months ago, and suggested that I place it in June. It is inspired by Howard's End by E.M. Forster, and it is about the contemporary experiences of gay men. It has two parts. It's basically two plays in one. And June is pretty busy with Pride reading and some people participating in June on the Range. I am tentatively eyeballing that beautiful copy of Lonesome Dove that I received. So I don't want to add any more plays to June. All right, July, we have, it's somewhere, it's in this book that I got for a class back in college, The Cherry Orchard by Anton Chekhov. And I do think I did read it back in that time period, but I don't remember anything. This plays from 1903. I know it's a family saga on a cherry orchard. That's all I remember. And the contemporary play that month is Sweat by Lynn Nottage from 2015. Mainly concerning a group of factory workers and mostly taking place in a bar. How's that for a summary? Again, I don't know if it's a drama or a comedy. We'll learn more when we get there. I kind of just went with the variety that I wanted, the strength of the overall reviews, the history of prizes, things like that. But I didn't delve too much into what was actually going on in some of these more contemporary plays. All right, August. The other part of the little play gift that I got from my friend Michael, August, Osage County by Tracy Letts. This I know is a dark comedy. I think it says a fusion of epic tragedy and black comedy. It's a family drama from 2008. And I know there's also a movie with Meryl Streep, so I'm probably going to have to watch that, right? Also in August, the play Art. I have the playbill. I went and saw this play back in the 90s. Stephen and I were on a trip to New York and we saw this play. And the production that we saw starred Alan Alda, Victor Garber, and Alfred Molina. It was really good. It's the author, the playwright is Yamia Reza, and translated by Christopher Hampton. I know that involved somebody purchases a big white blank painting and arguments ensue about the nature and definition of art and art collecting. And I am looking forward to rereading. Oh, I've never read it. I only have seen it. It was good. I don't remember the details, but I'm going to procure a copy to actually read the play. We're up to September, barreling through the year here. September. Oh, back to my old collection. The Bald Soprano by Eugene Ionesco. Actually, I have two plays that get classified as absurdist in this month. The first is The Bald Soprano from 1950. This is a play that has been showing continuously at a theater in Paris for decades, since the 50s. There's some theater that it shows this every day or every week and has never stopped showing it. So I have to look more into that. That sounds kind of fascinating. I remember it being funny and just off the wall, and I want to read it again. The other play is also a reread in September, which is Rosencrantz and Guildenstern Are Dead by Tom Stoppard from 1966. Another great thing that came out in 1966 was me. Rosencrantz and Guildenstern are minor characters from the play Hamlet by Shakespeare. And I believe this is kind of a comic, farcical, absurdist play. I know I read it way back when. I thought I had a copy. Where did it go? That's always the question. But I will track it down once again to reread this play. And that is a line in Hamlet. Rosencrantz and Guildenstern are dead. In October, I am breaking with my own rules and reading a play from the 19th century, but just barely, from 1895 by Oscar Wilde, The Importance of Being Earnest. Because I felt some FOMO with people who read it this year for Victober, and I thought, oh, that was funny. I should have read that. So I will read that in October, and I hope some people join me for that. That's considered what they call a drawing room comedy. He wrote several of them. I have a copy of Lady Windermere's Fan but I don't have a copy of The Importance of Being Earnest. I shall remedy that before October. And then also in October is a reread, Loot by Joe Orton from the 1960s, 1967. It's a satirical tale of a robbery that kind of goes sideways. Back in the 80s, I saw the movie Prick Up Your Ears, which is a biography of Joe Orton. And that interested me in reading his plays, which are from the 60s. And I did, but now I don't remember anything and I want to read them again. But I did recently, if you saw my last haul video, I got a copy of his complete plays at Recycled Books in Denton, Texas. So I'm all set. And then in November, there's a play that I know very little about, but I had to include it. It's called The Thanksgiving Play. And it is by Larissa Fasthorse, an indigenous playwright. And this was the first play on Broadway written by a female Native American playwright. I don't really know what it's about. I think it's a comedy, but I'm not sure. And then we have The Hot Wing King by Katori Hill from 2020. But it is about some guy who's entering a food competition because he wants to be the Hot Wing King in Nashville. Then in December, this was a surprise. I was looking for, was there anything written by a notable playwright with some sort of a holiday theme? And I found a play called The Long Christmas Dinner by Thornton Wilder, of all people. I have never heard of this play. It was written in 1931, and apparently, this sounds pretty funny. It takes place, it's a dinner that takes 90 years, all through the decades of one particular family, a never-ending Christmas dinner. Maybe you've been to a few of those of your own. And so there it is. That's the outline of the project. I hope that something in there sounds interesting to you. The Discord is open if you'd like to join and look around and introduce yourself. I would love to have you. I hope that you have a great rest of your week, and I will be back on the weekend, probably on Sunday, for a weekly wrap-up after my travels. Until then, take care, and I will see you soon. Bye-bye.